Hey everyone, it's Frankie,
And Jana.
and I just want to bring Jana on because I wanted to talk to her and get her to talk to you about why you should come to the CWF Legends Fanfest on November 5th, 2022. She is so much more smarter. That's not correct than I am, and more articulate. So, Jana, can you give the folks a couple good reasons to come to the fan fest?
Sure. Well, first of all, it's coming up like 3 weeks. So if you're thinking about it or on the fence, 100% buy the ticket, buy the Ultra, and come. And the reason I say the Ultra is because I have the most fun, and what I like a lot is listening to the stories of the wrestlers. And for me, they're brand new stories. So you can see the shock on my face with some of these stories. Most people in the room don't seem so surprised, but I am. I love it. I think the cup of coffee has been one of my favorites, and then certainly the section, I'm not sure what it's called, but after dinner has been really cool too. What's that one?
The after party.
After party. Yes,
Yeah.
the after party has been cool too. So I think for the actual programming of the CWF Legends Fanfest, those are my favorite things. I would also say the camaraderie of the group is a big highlight. And so if you have never been, or maybe you went and you didn't experience that, I think that's a blast. And so if you're someone who doesn't know a lot of people, you'll see everybody hanging out in the lobby or maybe at dinner or lunch. You should just feel welcome to come introduce yourself. There'll be a lot of guys hanging around, a few ladies, including myself, and we'd love to talk with you. It is some of the nicest people I've ever met are in this group and go to this event. And so I do look forward to it every time.
Well, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. Is like, is it for just the dudes or the ladies? But there are a couple of ladies that go.
Mm-hmm.
Kim Baldwin, the sainted wife of Jeff Baldwin, and then there's Kelly Miller, who is there with Ben James. Cindy, who is there with Bruce Cohen. Jana will be there, and Chris Zaucha brings his wife and his kids.
Mm-hmm.
So that's always refreshing to have the internet darling there, and he brings the whole family. So yeah, it's very female friendly, I would say.
Yeah, I absolutely. I have had a great time every time. Like I said, it's just a good group of people, and I now have friends that I didn't have before, so I think that's really cool, and I look forward to seeing everybody every time the event happens.
There was another question I was going to ask you
I would love for you to ask me.
if I could remember it. However, I'm the trophy husband. I'd like everyone to remember. So some things that we do there
Yes.
is eat.
Yes.
What are some of your favorite places to eat?
I love that sushi restaurant right there in the plaza. I don't know what it's called. I think it's the only one there. That is one of my favorites, and we've had lunch there every time. And I'm actually going to drive in early, do some work so I can go have lunch and then go back to work before everything starts on Friday. So that's a highlight for me. Of course, Glory Days is a great place to hang out, and we usually do that. And then last time we had a sandwich at the pizza place. Again, I'm not good with the names of these places, but that was good as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the question I was going to ask you was, do you have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy this?
Wait, you said that was the question about food, but I'll give you this one too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No. I mean, like I said before, these stories for me are brand new, and I find them fascinating. The things that these wrestlers have done in their life and in their careers is just so interesting. So I think it might be 10 times better if you're a wrestling fan because you either have lived these stories or you've saw the moment and now you're hearing the back end of the story. But for me, it's a ton of fun. I started watching wrestling in 2019, I think.
Yeah, when we got married.
Yeah.
This is gonna get married.
Yeah. So if it's on, I'll watch it. But I really, really love to hear these folks in person and talk about, what they did and what they went through and what other people did. And like I said, my face, I'm sure, is pretty entertaining to watch when you hear some of these stories. And I notice people looking at me like, why is her mouth open? Because it's shocking to me, some of these stories, but they're fun and it's just such a great time. So
yeah, my wife, if you don't know, is a pearl clutcher. So she will grab her chest and you go, oh my goodness. Can you think of any person that you remember telling the stories? I know I'm putting you on the spot. So we've been to 3 fan fests, really experienced 2 of them fully.
Yeah.
The
Rock and Roll Express folks.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many moments in there where I was like, oh my word, is that even real? Is he really telling the truth? And then, I'd make this face and you'd like sort of assure me everything is fine. So I think like their stories were maybe the craziest for me.
But you also like Jerry Jarrett.
I loved hearing him. And Medusa was awesome. It's in her book if you don't know. But the stuff that she did share with us, I thought was really fascinating. So I have enjoyed everybody that I saw for the last 2 that we, attended all the events, which I think is the way to go.
Well, good. Thank you for coming on this awkward conversation with your husband.
Well, it wasn't awkward for me. You're welcome.
And so it's November 5th in Lutz. You can just Google it. It's on Eventbrite is where you buy the tickets. And so you always want to get the Ultra, which will get you the cup of coffee, the dinner, which is 2 hours, and it's catered. So you get a free meal there. And then you also get the after party. So that's the ticket that you want. Plus, you'll be able to get things signed by the legends and hang out and talk. And one of the cool things about it is that you really just don't feel rushed. It's like everybody stands and the lines are so much shorter than a lot of other fan fests, so that we haven't been to any others. But everyone that comes, they talk about how much better this is because the lines are short and you're not pressured and people will talk and ask questions. And I'll tell you, one of the nicest guys that I spoke with was Ray Lloyd Glacier. And I mean, he won me over. He talked and was so nice. And so whatever that guy does in the future, I'll support him because he was so generous with his time. And and I also appreciate the guys who, if they see that you're with your wife, they'll make it a point to involve them because I'm sure they get it, right? That the wives are tagging along not because they want to, but probably because they have to. And they
not me.
and so I appreciate those fellows that and ladies that want to talk to the wife and make sure that they're not bored. So that's it. November 5th, the CWF Legends Fanfest. There are probably still tickets available, but always get the Ultra, the best one, and you'll be able to get the hour-long cup of coffee, the 2-hour-long dinner with the Q&A. Last time we had Demolition Axe and Smash, and it was a big moment for me because I was a big Mass Superstar mark, still am, and Bill Eadie and Barry Darsow, 2 of the nicest people. And actually, while we were eating breakfast, Barry Darsow and then Bill Eadie came down. And so there we are eating, and we're eating with these guys that are legends. And I mean, for most people there, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And I'm going to let Jana give you a little bit of advice on how to work the free buffet for breakfast. How do you get the most out of that, Jana?
You are?
Yeah.
I'm the expert on this.
Well, you're very frugal. Everyone is.
Well, I mean, I didn't partake in this the last time. However, you could grab yourself a piece of fruit for later, You could grab yourself a Nutri-Grain bar for a snack. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I mean,
so you go and you eat your breakfast.
Yeah.
I'll be a little more crass with it. You go and you eat your breakfast. And then after you're done eating your breakfast, you fill your pockets back full.
You don't fill your pockets with food.
Okay. Kayfabe it. But you go back through and you get snacks to last you throughout the day. And that's how you make the money last. You get enough for lunch, so let's say hypothetically they have waffles, right? So you make a couple extra waffles, wrap them up in a napkin, take them up to your room. There's a microwave in your room, by the way, and then you can heat them up and have them much later.
To be clear, I am not filling my pockets with waffles ever.
Well, she said she didn't participate. However, her husband did. So that is fruit in my pockets or a Nutri-Grain bar. So no, I'm not happy to see you.
Thank you for clarifying that.
But that is just a little tip. I saw someone post something about eating in the restaurant, the breakfast, and I didn't want to put it out there on the Facebook group, but I'll put it out there now. So that's just a little tip. You want to make your money last a little longer? That's one way to do it. Get 2 or 3 meals out of that free breakfast that they give you.
Sure.
All right. She said, sure. I'm in trouble. However, let me just clarify. My wife does not do that, nor does she condone it.
Now, I have, in my work travels, grabbed myself a piece of fruit for, mid-morning during a meeting. So, I have never filled my pockets. That's the part I want to be clear about.
Thank you for clarifying.
Do not have waffles in my pocket.
Now, honestly, could you see me having waffles in my pocket? Yeah.
Yes, you would put a waffle in your pocket. I would not.
So make sure you come. CWF Legends Fanfest, November 5th. And you know what? People get there early. I'll be there Thursday, which is the 3rd, I think. And then, so Friday be the 4th. And Jana's coming up on the Friday the 5th. So you can come there and you hang out. And there's always something special that happens, the Friday before, or somebody random will show up that you may not be expecting. So, okay, that's it. CWF Legends Fanfest. We'll see you there.
Willie, mercy, baby. This is Shaska Willie. You're listening to Broken Kayfabe with Frankie Seabreeze and Ariel Bologna and Cheese Sandwich. They're like Coca-Cola. They're all over, baby, on whatever network that you find it on, baby. This is Navy SEAL Body Guy, and you are listening to Broken Kayfabe with Frankie Seacrest, Ariel Agbalog, and the Brothership. Now that half-wit, Shaska Willie, better not step on this, or I will step on him, Jack. This is Redneck Steve. You're listening to Broken Kayfabe with Ariel Agbalog, Frankie Seacrest. Flap their gums about anything that they want, putting some steak on it. Oh, hell yeah.
Welcome to Broken Kayfabe, the unofficial after show of Breaking Kayfabe with Baldrin and Barry. Hey, Ariel, long time no talk.
Yeah, Frankie, long time no talk. How have you been?
Well, we dodged the hurricane, and we'll talk about that a little bit today.
Mm-hmm.
Also, we will talk about the guest that we have coming on this week. It is Michael Herrick.
Nice.
William Meriwether,
mm-hmm.
and the internet darling himself, Chris Zaucha.
Wow, legendary all-star cast of guests we have this week.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Ariel, we had a wonderful podcast, which ended up being the tribute to Gunny, which was just heartbreaking.
I still haven't listened to that podcast. I couldn't get through the first 30 seconds of it, or the first 90 seconds of it. Yeah, I still have to listen to that podcast. It broke my heart when I was listening to it. Gunny's been, talked about a lot over the years on Breaking Kayfabe, and he's just, one of us. He's just like Ozzy, just one of the boys. But yeah, it was heartbreaking. I cried. I was tearing up a lot, and as pet owners, you empathize with other pet owners when they lose a member of their family like that. And rest in peace, Gunny. I know cancer is a bitch. My dog Boomer passed away from cancer also. So that hit me hard. Yeah. So see, now I'm getting kind of emotional again. So
all right, well, let's move on, and let's talk about what will be taking place in about a month from today. The CWF Legends Fanfest returns to sunny Lutz, Florida, with the boss, Magnum TA, Jimmy Garvin, Dory Funk Jr., NWA champion.
Wow.
Jody Malenka, who I'm particularly excited about. Bill Apter. Just announced returning will be Steve Kern.
Nice.
Also, Robert Fuller, Chris Markoff, and Scott McGee.
That is quite the lineup.
I know it is pretty amazing, and it is going to be a good time. I'm getting there on Thursday, and so I'm spending an extra day there. Jana's going to meet me there Friday, and then we'll come back on Sunday afternoon, I do believe.
Awesome. Sounds good.
I did see that Barry posted in another group that this would potentially be the last CWF Legends Fan Fest until November of 2023. So it looks like maybe they are skipping it for June, possibly. So, I think that really should encourage everyone to come out and be a part of this, because who knows what could happen. That was put on hold there because of the COVID and whatnot. God forbid that something happens and they decide to take an even longer hiatus. So if you are on the fence of whether you should come out or not, if all of those names that I just gave you did not encourage you to go buy the ticket, then you really need to go and just buy the ticket, because you might have to wait another year or maybe two to come back and be a part of this. And like I've always said about the Fan Fest, it's not just about the legends. It is hanging out with the members of the Facebook group out in the hotel lobby, and then going out to the dinners. The dinners have become such a integral part of the event.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're the brother shippers are legends themselves. So legendary times, legendary wrestlers, legendary stories to tell, legendary everything about that entire weekend.
Well, it has grown to where it's not just the guys and girls in the group, but then it's the spouses, and then it's children of the guys, and whole families are now coming to be a part of this. Chris Zaucha has brought his whole family to the last couple. William Meriwether is bringing his family and making a vacation out of it. So it should be really exciting to have not just us, but wives, kids, the whole family. And I wish that as a kid I could have done something this cool with my family.
Yeah, it's It's a really cool thing to do with your family. Lots of memories to be had there. Also, enlarged photos of brother shippers that couldn't be there, that couldn't make it, also make an appearance, or large cardboard cutouts of of brother shippers that couldn't make it. They make an appearance too. That's pretty cool though.
Well, we've had Flat Antonio a couple times.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We had Chris Spiker.
Yes.
And he will not be at this one again because he's going to become a dad, which is a lot better than the CWF Legends Fanfest.
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Yeah, and also there was a Flat Zaucha.
Yeah, that started it all, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
That's so awesome. Oh, man.
Well, cool, Ariel. Let's go ahead and go to our conversation with Michael Herrick, handsome Michael Herrick, as I like to call him, and the 7'8" William Meriwether, and the internet darling, Chris Zaucha.
Nope, I'll just turn it off. Who cares?
God, Bill, get it together.
I'm a mess. Maybe I'll put it on the phone. We'll see what happens.
Why don't you maybe not use a tin can and a string? You know what I mean? Or using Travis's rabbit ears and his ham radio from like 1926.
Listen, that government check only buys so much. You guys can still hear me though, okay, right?
Yep. Yeah, I can hear
you. Sorry about that. I'm saying do whatever.
No, you're fine. You sound sad today. Are you upset about them?
No, I'm just extremely high on marijuana. I got
that's nice.
They call them Octo High, these gummy things, and they're covered with this cannabis sugar. And I took like 6 of them because they're real tasty. They'll be fine. And then I ended up having like another one, so I got it to like 7.5, maybe 8. I'm not sure, but long story short,
too late.
Yeah, I'm a little. Yeah, sorry guys, but hey, whatever. That's cool.
You're fine. Well, you know what? Last time we had Travis on a podcast, he was baked too, and he didn't offer jack shit. You'd ask him something, he'd go, no. Now look, what?
I swear by
all of this, Frankie. I don't know.
I'll chime in. I promise.
Yeah, no, you're doing fine so far. I'm really enthralled by whatever the hell you were talking about. Hey, Frankie, do you normally do an introduction on these shows? I don't listen to all of them because I'm busy, quite honestly.
Hey man, look, I'm like the rest of the Arcadian Vanguard Network. I half-ass it. No,
perfect. Yeah, exactly.
I'm just kidding.
That's fine.
I'm kidding. I'm not part of the Arcadian Vanguard Network. I'm just a fanboy. But anyway, I'm so pleased to be joined by 3 of my favorite brother shippers. We have again here handsome Michael Herrick.
Woohoo!
The 7-foot tall William Meriwether.
Happy to be here, Ryan Seacrest.
And the brothership's own indie darling, Chris Zaucha.
Woohoo! I even cheer for myself. What a mark.
Industry Insider TN.
Right. That's right. Trademark. So I think I know we're one of like 100,000 podcasts that are covering this, but we have to discuss the recent developments in All Elite Wrestling.
Well,
we have to.
But before we lose people, I did want to give a plug to the CWF Legends Fanfest, November the 5th, at the Lutz Marriott Suncoast Residence Inn, Tampa North Parkway.
Just like that.
Michael, you've been a few times. Chris, you've been a few times. And this year, making his debut, Big Bill Meriwether.
That's right.
That's awesome. I can't wait. Can't wait to meet you in person.
I heard the Young Bucks are going to be there. They've been added to the card.
They just got added, and they're bringing a ladder so they can meet you.
No, they're going to do the thing where they are on each other's shoulders in the trench coat.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'm tall, Buck.
But thank you guys for coming on once again. Chris Zaucha, man, you've been on like 50 podcasts.
Roughly.
Yeah. So thank you for fitting us into your busy schedule of not just podcasts, but being a dad, working on the dad bod. You're posting videos and pictures. You're in the gym almost every day. That's pretty awesome.
Get some TikToks.
I haven't been there in like a week, truth be told. So I was gonna go today after work, but Shannon was making dinner, so I raced home, and I'm like, I'll go later. And I think later is gonna be tomorrow because now I'm on a podcast with a bunch of marks.
I think he's been cycling pictures at the gym too.
Exactly. Yeah, those are actually high school pictures from gym class. But I'm trying. All I do basically is I just do the treadmill, and maybe I'll do like the chest press. I'm supposed to meet with a personal trainer so he can really give me because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just running on the treadmill. So he's gonna help me out, planning an actual workout regimen. But I'm kind of afraid to meet with him because I know he's gonna really, probably push me really hard. I'm probably gonna throw up, and I really don't want to do that. But eventually I have to, or else.
Yoked.
Yeah. Exactly. He's gonna blow me up like Harley did to Jack Briscoe in 1926.
That's getting kind of political, buddy. Settle it down.
I am so sorry.
Well,
sorry.
Before we get into the craziness that's wrestling this week, how about we just go around the room here and just talk about one person that you look forward to meeting at the CWF Legends Fanfest, and then we'll move on from my shameless plug.
Yes.
We'll start with you, Handsome Michael. Tell us.
Bill. Bill's the guy I'm looking forward to meeting the most. Hands down.
Okay, well, what about Legends? Not legendary.
Again, Bill. The legend I'm most interested in meeting. If we're talking talent at the show, probably Jimmy Garvin.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. That's a last minute ad, right?
Yeah, that's a big get.
Yeah, that is that's pretty awesome. What say you, Mr. Zaucha?
Jimmy Garvin for sure. Yeah, because he was on Breaking Kayfabe 2 years or whatever. 2 years ago, I think it's like a 2 or 3 part interview, and he was great. And, he was. He was awesome. Probably one of the best ones.
Real original answer there too.
Yeah, you're welcome. Oh, I meant to say James Garvin. Gorgeous James Garvin.
All right, what about you, Bill?
This is really marky, guys. This is super marky. I'm just to be honest with you, everyone. I really want to see Bill after because I want to fuck with him. Because he's got everything he does is like a bit, and that's kind of why I went into the bit myself because there's no shame in my game. But he I don't know, for some reason I just really want to meet the guy. I want to see everybody honestly, but I just want to see him because he just sounds pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I'll give you that. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, one of the really cool things about Bill After is, he was a photographer, I guess, a writer for these mags, but then it ended up being called the After Mags.
Mm-hmm.
That's like, Chris, your place that you work there. People come in, we're going to Zaucha's or we're going to Chris's grocery store. I mean, that's pretty freaking impressive. I mean. Yeah, he's definitely legendary. So I think that's really cool.
Absolutely. The old After magazines were freaking awesome. And all it did was just amplify our fandom. It just made us bigger wrestling fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bill After's going to ask you for about $7,000 for all the magazines you got for free.
That's there's a statute of there's a statute of limitations.
There is
when the person that stole them is deceased.
Not the stolen wrestling magazines. You probably still have them in your possession.
We can't talk about that right now. I'll bring them all back to him. I'm like, sorry, all the Roddy Piper pictures are cut out. There's one. So I'm complete this may come as a big surprise, but I was a complete wrestling mark until yesterday. Yeah. So when for the longest time I would read those interviews in like PWI. It was called like PWI press conference, or they would have like one-on-one in the wrestler. I don't know what they call it in Inside Wrestling. But even though I knew like wrestling was a work, I thought that those interviews were like legit. Obviously they were doing the interviews in character, but I thought they were like legit until finally one day I'm like reading, I'm like, I don't think this is right. I was like 20. Like I was like way past the age I should have questioned that. So I doing to my brother Ron. I'm like, hey, I don't think these interviews are on the level. He's like, no shit, Chris. You don't say. But still, those were great times, man. Dude, being a wrestling fan, it's still fun. But back in the day when you're like just learning about all the different territories and where guys came from and blah blah blah, that was cool stuff. It wasn't you couldn't just click on something and learn stuff. You had to actually work for it back then, dude. Back in my day,
brother.
Dude,
That's probably the day that Ronnie lost his smile.
I think he lost it long before that. He lost it at like 8 years old.
Bill, you were going to say something?
I forgot. I'm sorry, guys.
No, it's
He'll remember later.
Yeah.
Just interrupt me later when you remember what it is.
Well, cool. Has anyone ever met Magnum TA before?
No.
No.
Okay, well, I'm excited to meet Magnum TA.
Thank you, Frank.
Of course.
Yeah.
Actually, another one that I'm excited to meet is Jody Malenko.
Yeah, that'll be cool.
Oh, yeah, that should be fun.
I mean, I know he's not Dean, but I mean, obviously, right? But Dean was revolutionary in that he was the first smaller guy, like more of a pure wrestler, to be in the top 500.
Oh, the PWI 500. Yeah. He was like number one that one year, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it was 98.
Yeah, something like that, 97 or 98. That was a interesting decision. And I love Dean Malenko too, but I don't know if I'd say he's the best in the world at any point. But that's just me.
Well, let me see what year that was. That was 97.
Wow. I remember it like it was yesterday.
Man, you're good. Man, you guys are nerds.
Yeah. You hear that, Michael? You're a nerd.
I know. It's okay.
Exactly.
So let me see what I was ranked, or was I that year? Hang on.
Where was the?
Aren't you in the women's 500?
The women's. Come on.
Francesca.
So, or was I 90? Or was I 98?
Is your picture actually in there, or is it just like a little blurb?
No, just a little. Just my
name. You
name.
actually got the PWI 500. My God.
Yeah.
Man, that's embarrassing.
Twice. I was 391 and 416.
You know what's sad that this is scaring me. How can you remember that stuff? Did it lead to more? Did you get more bookings off of that? Where you're like, hey, look at me, I'm 416, brother.
No. This is one time. I'm kind of dumb, admittedly. And one time we were working in Greer, South Carolina, and this kid was chanting 391, 391.
That's awesome.
And I was like, what is he saying? I thought I thought like he had a speech impediment. And Michael Makiko said he's saying 391. And I'm like, what the hell would he say that for? He goes, isn't that what you were ranked in the top 500? I was like, oh. And then he brought the book and I signed it.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. After I got beat,
Well, that's okay. Then you dropped to 393. So wait, what was you were 416?
Yeah, the following year.
You could have been like, Frankie 416 says I just got booked.
Yeah, here I am on Cage. Oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. I was not ranked in 97. I was ranked in 98 and 99.
That right at the height of the Attitude Era. You know what? You should take credit for that.
Chris would, if it was him.
I would. I'm taking credit for it now. I wasn't even there.
Well, look, they've got me as 6 feet tall and 196 pounds. I was 28. Oh, I've got 28 years of wrestling experience according to Cage Match.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
And all these matches are not mine. There's somebody else.
Oh, somebody stole your gimmick.
No. I stole someone else's.
Yeah, what a surprise. Unbelievable.
Yeah,
And then you steal breaking kayfabe and call it broken kayfabe. My God, you've been biting off people for years.
yeah, but here's the thing: it might be this other guy's matches that are listed on CageMatch.net or whatever, but it's my rankings in the top 500. And
wow, that is true.
And let me tell you how ballsy I was, and then I'll stop talking about me, and then we'll talk about CM Punk. I sent a letter because there was, there was email. I wasn't going to say there's not email. This is 96, 97. I sent a letter to Tony Rumble. You guys know that name?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because this guy was working for him, calling himself the Hollywood Kid. And I'm not lying. I'm not lying. I said because I've got a good shot of getting seen by WCW and ECW and WWF. And I don't want them to confuse me with that guy.
Wow.
That's what I said in my letter. And he wrote me back and he says, well, it's a pretty generic name. You might want to go with something a little more unique.
Maybe the Hollywood Child.
Well, I could be the Hollywood middle-aged man now.
Now you could, exactly. Now you could be like the Los Angeles middle-aged guy.
So
that's great.
So big week in wrestling.
Yeah, I would say so.
Did something
a little bit. Yeah, something happened.
Well, I was excited to not only all the drama, and we'll get you guys' take on all the drama in a minute, but I was also excited all the returns that are happening on the WWE. So I think all the activity on both sides is pretty cool. Bill, you've been kind of quiet there. Why don't you tell us what you think of what happened with the scrum? The scrum is the word of the, scrum is like transparency was in 2008. Everybody's using the word scrum. What do you think of the scrum?
I wish I could eat carbs because I want to try those muffins. They look really good.
Have Chris go get you some.
And it's cheat day. I'm gonna grab one. Yeah, man.
You should.
You ever try that?
I have not. No, I don't eat that stuff.
No, we're getting old.
What was it? Mindy's Muffins or something like that?
It's like Mindy's Bakery or something like that.
Yeah, that's it.
You need to go check this out and give us a review, Zaucha.
I'll be there tomorrow.
Okay.
On the spot.
Oh, that's great.
So how far is that from you, Chris?
I have no idea.
I'm like drive there. I guarantee.
Yeah, I go there. I'm like an hour from Chicago, and I don't know exactly where that is in Chicago. I'll look it up. I mean, listen. I got donut places right here. I'm not driving an hour to go get a piece of cake. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I wouldn't either. I was just curious.
I'll drive an hour for a pizza, but I have to draw a line somewhere.
So Bill, what do you think about the scrum? Is it a work? Is it a shoot?
I always think work, but I thought Cody leaving was a work too, so I don't know shit. I really don't. It feels like a work, but if it is, it's really clever. Like next level. I mean, I'll give Tony his little Booker of the Year award if it is, because he's earned it. If it's really true, if they all are doing that, but it's probably not. If it's legit, man, Tony. I mean, you seem like a fun guy. I definitely would, party with you. If I was younger, maybe, but I'd probably have a heart attack now. But I'm saying it's a little too fast for my taste. But so he looks like a lot of fun. But Jesus, it's like you don't have to be a complete dickhead, but you might have to get somebody in line. But you know what I mean? I don't know. It's pretty crazy. But those guys, I mean, they're not drawing any money. You know what I mean? Where does CM Punk draws money? Yep. It's like the oldest trick in the book. But, he kind of put him in those spots way back then. If they're executive vice president, I don't know how hard it is to get him out of that as it is to just let talent go. I have no idea. Mm-hmm. I'm sure it's got to be more legally complicated than that. So, the whole thing's real sticky and weird. I don't know. But I would definitely go with, whether you like him or not, you're a Mizark or not, you got to go with the guy that draws all the money. Because those guys, whether you like him or not, whatever. I'm not even trying to get on all that. But I think people are kind of tuning out away from them because they're kind of do the same gimmick a lot, and they don't really go outside of their comfort zone. That's my one criticism I got to throw in, because it just is what it is. But anyway, long story short, Tony's got to kind of man up and be a little more of a boss. Sorry, guys, I'm off a tangent, but
No, that's perfect.
I think
That's
you're
great.
right. I think you're 100% right.
yeah,
And the EVP thing, I don't know. I've seen some things say that they don't have any kind of ownership stake or anything in the company. So at that point, it's just a title and what booking responsibilities he gives them. So I would think he could take those away. Do you punish everybody involved? Do you punish if it did get physical, like the story is currently right now? But again, like you said, what is it all a work? Is some of it a work? Is none of it? It's hard to say. And I watched a video a little bit ago that apparently Punk may have hurt his hand or his tricep. I've heard two different reports. Now, whether that was in the match, whether that was when he apparently knocked out one of the Bucks, I don't know. Is he actually hurt at all, or is that a cover because they're going to suspend him for 4 weeks or something? I don't know that we'll get the full story anytime soon.
Or ever.
Yeah, well, I have a feeling that if this all is real and Punk gets pushed too far, he'll leave, and then we will get the real story, because he'll be like, no, this was real, and they tried to tell me I had to do this, and I've got enough money I can say, fuck you, I'm going home. And that's a risk, I think, because he is the draw. I saw some numbers the other day that said since Omega's come back, his segments and the Bucks segments are shedding like 150, 200,000 viewers.
Yeah.
And their TV deal's not a long-term thing. They're trying to negotiate a new deal with Discovery Plus that bought Time Warner and all that. And what do you do? Do you punish Punk and risk him leaving and you losing your biggest draw and hamstringing yourself in TV negotiations just to protect the egos of the Bucks and Omega? I don't know.
So we're saying that the fight happened after Punk said a bunch of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the way the story goes, yeah. Because I guess if you watch the whole scrum, and I didn't, I watched Punk's portion, and then I caught the very end where Tony Khan talks about how he has more money than the Crockett's, and he won't. Fucking bullshit or whatever.
Yeah. I'm not gonna take that fucking shit.
Because if he thinks that the WWE having two events the same weekend, but not head-to-head competition with his pay-per-view is the same treatment that Jim Crockett got from Vince, he's sadly mistaken.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, brother. Terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I think we're so used to everything in wrestling being a work that we just think everything that happens on TV is a work. And I actually think this is legit. And just kind of watching, like, Punk was in the wrong, I think, to publicly go out and bury those guys. I'm not going to say I didn't like it. And I'm not going to say it was that he's wrong, because maybe he's right, but that may not have been the right place to air his grievances. That said, Tony Khan's sitting right next to him, and at no point did he say, like, hey, let's wrap it up. And so I look at that like, okay, either Tony just doesn't want to rock the boat.
Like spoke up to like sort of semi-apologize, like
yeah.
That's why it made me think it was work either that or he's like Lord Cookington. You know what I mean? Which whatever.
It's either that. He's either just like doesn't want to say anything, doesn't want to cause any problems, isn't good with confrontation. I don't know. Or maybe he's watching Punk go off and he's like, man, people are going to be talking about this for a long time. So maybe I'll just
can't
let him
wait
go
to
for
hug
it.
him.
And then I'm going to hug him later. Yeah. I think that, like, I don't like the Omega and the Young Bucks. Like, I don't dislike them. I mean, they're fine, but I'm not going to watch AEW to watch them. And that said, I really don't watch a lot of AEW to begin with, to be honest. But of those four, I would think that Punk is clearly by far the biggest star, and probably the biggest star the company has. But between him, Jericho, and like Danielson, and then I would say maybe MJF now that he's back.
Yeah.
Which people have suddenly forgotten because of the Punk's
That's what I'm excited about.
antics. Yeah, me too. So, I mean, at this point, and I was asking Michael this before because I don't really watch a lot of sports, but so say as an example, like I don't know who a big football player is now, like, okay, Tom Brady. So if he did a media scrum, as it were, and he said, yeah, I tried to throw it to Joe Blow and he sucks. And also my coach, he's a moron. And the food and catering blows. Like, does he get punished? Or is that just athletes blowing off steam? Is it a case of like boys will be boys type thing? I don't know. How would you handle that? Would the coach of the Buccaneers say, hey, you can't act like that? Or would they just say, hey, well, it's Tom Brady. Fuck it. I don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't think about this when you mentioned it earlier, but there is at least one incident in the last, 15 years where Peyton Manning called out the kicker on the Colts, Mike Vanderjagt, calling him an idiot, liquored up kicker over some comments that he made about something. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there was any kind of repercussions.
Right.
Because again, Peyton was in that same kind of position that Punk's in, where he's the draw, he's the guy.
Right.
So I don't know.
If everything Punk said, if you take everything at face value, let's say, okay, everything he said is 100% true. So, like, let's say, somebody went to Adam Page and said, hey, do you take advice from the veterans? And Adam Page like, oh, I don't take advice from people. Then he really is a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Because I've been working in a grocery store for 31 fucking years. And if somebody says, hey, why don't you do this? I'm not going to say, oh, no, I've been doing this for a long time. I don't take advice. Of course I'm going to fucking take advice because everybody has ideas. Some are good or some are bad. Doesn't matter if you've been there for 5 years or 5 days. So for any wrestler or any athlete or anybody be like, oh, I don't have to take advice from anybody. Well, then maybe you should be fucking doing this for a living then.
Even if you don't brag about it.
You certainly don't say that.
Because that's not the business. Anybody in their right mind knows that. You got respect is a big deal with that.
Yeah. How could you be like, oh, I don't need to listen to anybody?
Really?
Are you sure about that? And I actually like it. I'm not gonna say I like Adam Page. I mean, he's fine, I guess. He was world champion and now he's teaming with the Dark Order again. So
yeah,
I don't know if that says a lot about his standing in the company.
I felt like they kind of mishandled him when he
I think so
take
too.
over a team. I really felt like Page needed to be the one that turned heel.
Yeah, that's true.
And then give him a push, and that's not the direction they went. And even when he was champ, he didn't really feel like a big deal because
that angle, that angle was stupid. Anyways, when him and Kenny were teaming up, and he's like drunk all the time. I'm like, this is fucking dumb. I was like, oh no, it's long term. No, watching drunk people is not fucking cool. What the hell are you talking about? Oh, look, an alcoholic. I love wrestling. Give me a fucking break. Jesus Christ. Oh, look at that guy. He's got track marks. I love wrestling. Get the fuck out of here. I mean, what the fuck? Oh, he's drinking. Oh, goody. I remember that time that Michael Jordan started doing crack on the fucking court. That drew money.
He sure did jump far.
Well, you know what? I'm starting to wonder. But they didn't make it an angle.
He sure gambled a lot, though. He was too cracked up.
He did. But there you go. He was known for gambling. He didn't stop the fucking game to play Yahtzee.
Right. No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my take. What do you got, Frankie? Frankie, you've actually been in the ring. What do you think about this media scrum, as it were?
Well, I'll tell you. I like this is how I think of wrestling. I think of wrestling as come for the athletics, but stay for the drama. And I am much more interested in the drama than I am in any wrestling match and any moves just because now we don't believe in it, right? We don't believe nothing. So
Right.
it's so hard to suspend our disbelief, even for a moment, out for myself, and I see it as a performance. So I love it when there's when there's drama, and when you think that something might be real, and it's what I've said since I started watching wrestling again, which has been probably 2014, casually, started watching it. But I have said that there should be more lines crossed or more lines blurred, or you don't know if it's real or if it's not. It's like
Sure.
if someone's doing a run in, they don't always have to play the entrance
music.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, so I like it. I like the drama, and I like that everybody's got something to talk about, and hopefully it'll bring more eyes on AEW to see what happens. I didn't like Punk shitting on Colt Cabana. I thought that was a little much. And it's kind of like it was too much. It's like, if you want to talk about the EVPs, then don't jump and shit all over Colt and talk about how he didn't make money and he made the most money off of whatever their deal was or whatever.
Sure.
I think that was a little much.
Well, especially like what he was saying, like, and by the way, I do like Punk. I mean, he's fine, but when he was like, oh, he shares a checking account with his mother, it's like, well, I shared one with my dad too. It was just so I could help my dad with his bills. So my point is that he doesn't know the reasoning behind it. It's not like he shares a bank account with his mother because his mom pays, buys him dinner. It might be for some other reason. I mean, just little things like that. It's like, you didn't have to go there. I mean,
and even that's speculation on our part as to why.
Sure.
It's hard telling, because apparently Cabana grew up in a pretty rich suburb there,
right,
of Chicago. So I mean, it could be more that his mom's name was on the account so that he could spend something. It's hard telling. It didn't need to be brought up either way.
Yeah, for sure.
But
for sure,
if if everybody was going around, if Paige and the Bucks and whoever it is that may have leaked this stuff out, that Punk got Cabana fired, if that's been a constant thing, and it's pissed him off for a month or 2 months, I don't even know when all that started, but I can understand being pissed off about it and wanting to say something about it, but he went overboard with that.
And again, I'm not saying he's wrong with any of his criticisms, but if he was pissed about it, he's obviously been pissed about it for a while. I'm sure he has their phone numbers. He could have called them and said, "Hey, what the fuck?"
Those two hate each other's guts, and I think that's the, I don't. It was obviously really, not called for, inappropriate or whatever for him to do that and bury him completely. But that's, I think, was the catalyst for the whole thing, was those guys going around going, well, CM Punk wanted to get rid of Colt, because they do hate each other's guts. There's no love lost because all that stuff with the lawsuit and the podcast, which is a hell of a podcast. It's kind of sad whatever went down with it and all that stuff, but it was pretty weird. But so I think that's kind of what got him so ticked off in the first place, is those guys, kind of putting that out there allegedly,
allegedly, right?
And so I don't know. I just think that he really hates Colt Cabana, like hates his guts.
He definitely
be like BFFs,
Yeah, isn't that crazy? It's like, 'cause they were super close, and then
I used to listen to this podcast all back in the, it was great. He had a real good Buddy Landell episode that was awesome, but 2-1 with Piper, that was fantastic. And I wish I'd have swiped it, because you can't find it anymore. But then,
you can't? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I'm sure you can if you look hard enough. I'm kind of lazy, but
I understand.
That speaks just like a cursory look or whatever. But he had to revamp his show but Colt was on it, Punk was on it all the time, like, doing the intro with him and stuff like that, because they were really close homies. But after all that weird shit went down, he has like some kind of weird rejig thing where he does like live interviews and mixes it all together, and it kind of sucks.
Yeah. Wow.
Compared to what it was, because he really was a good interviewer. And
he was.
Yeah, well, he's also a pioneer.
He really is. He's definitely one of the first. Was he the first or one of them? Definitely do a podcast like that.
Yeah, and
One
he's
of the first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Kenny Bolin.
Has anyone ever met CM Punk?
I met him.
You did.
I met him at C2E2 in 2019.
That's
He was
right.
fine. He was nice. A buddy of mine, true story, a buddy of mine that I worked with I went to high school with him. He met Punk a couple weeks ago out walking his dog, and Punk actually took a picture with him, which was really surprising because Punk comes across as kind of a dickhead.
Yeah.
But he took a picture with my friend. I'm like, okay, well, I guess he's not the worst person ever. Like I said, when my dad and I met him, he was fine. He was friendly. I mean, he wasn't like sitting there like gushing over us, going, "Oh, hey, did you sit in the Batmobile?" Like he didn't do anything like that. But he was nice enough. He was fine. And we actually after that we went and met Omega and the Young Bucks, and they were really nice. So
Comers.
I don't know I don't know whose team I'm on here, because I feel like all of us are friends now.
Who's the third man, brother?
Who's the thing? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, anybody else meet Punk?
Nope.
He doesn't seem like the most friendly, outgoing person. That's my opinion. And he does talk a little shit.
Yeah.
Which I'm not mad about, but
I see a lot of myself in him because I don't like people really.
Yeah.
And I like to talk shit about people. So
yeah,
got a lot.
I agree.
We got to bury some people, right?
Yeah, who we got to bury? Let's start with Frankie. Let's
Me?
What are your feelings about Bix?
Bix, nah, he's fine. He's just greasy.
He keeps those blinds open for a reason. If you see his penis, it's not your fault.
Frankie's sitting there like, no, don't talk about Bix. I'm gonna get sued.
Oh, Bix.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all talk about whatever you want.
He's the one that ranked you at 416.
Oh, come on. He was a kid back then.
Exactly. You should call him like, hey, what the fuck? I should have been 412, bitch.
I was over, brother.
Nah. Go ahead. Sorry, Frankie. Go ahead.
I was thankful just to be in there because most of the scrubs that I work with, they weren't ranked at all. So
he showed them. you right when you guys locked up, you're like 416, motherfucker. I'm going over. Tackle drop down, get it again. 416. Good night. When I say 416, that means we go home. When I hit the 416, you're looking at the lights. You should have said you weighed 416 pounds.
You could have been the reverse Buddy Rose.
Exactly. You could have been Buddy Rose. I weigh 416 pounds.
All right, Ariel, we're back, and I cannot even begin to tell you what we talked about because it's been so long since we recorded that, and so much has happened.
Mm-hmm. I haven't heard it yet. I will though.
You will. You will. Hey, it's coming.
Yeah.
But I can tell you that next week we will have a segment I'm calling 21 Questions with Michael Herrick and the two doctors, Dr. Philip Kahn and the honorary doctor himself, Mr. Dr. Spiker.
Wow, sounds interesting. 21 questions only? There should be more.
21. There could be more.
There could be more.
I just got 21 questions to go along with the not Ice Cube shit. The 50 Cent song.
I see. Awesome. So, I mean, it's been so long since we've talked to each other. I know a lot has been going on these past couple of weeks. You just got through Hurricane Ian. How was everything over there? I mean, it was kind of scary seeing that on the news, and thinking about all the brother shippers and sister shippers over there in Florida, and kind of word of how they were doing and everything like that, and all this stuff that's been going on lately. So, yeah, I mean,
So for me, we left on Sunday.
Mhm.
I believe it actually hit on late Wednesday, early Thursday. And we left on Sunday because at that time it was coming up toward us. And so I live in the Tampa, St. Petersburg area. Our town is actually called Reddington Beach, if anybody wants to look that up. And it was going north of us, north of Clearwater, toward Crystal River. And so Jana was going to work on Monday. And she didn't want to take a day off of traveling, day off of work just to be driving, right? And so also that as you get closer and closer to the actual hurricane hitting, traffic gets bad with people trying to leave. And there's a lot of bridges here, and so traffic gets bottlenecked on those bridges. So we decided to take off on Sunday, and we went to North Carolina, just north of your sister's place. Actually, we drove right past the exit for your sister lives in Salisbury, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, so we went right past the exit for Salisbury on Interstate 77.
Mm-hmm.
And we went and stayed with my mom a couple days, able to help her do some things, and that always feels good. But once we got there, we watched the hurricane and what was happening. We did quite a bit of preparation before we left. We closed the hurricane shutters that we just had installed a year or two ago. We have a Kevlar screen that goes in the back to protect this large open area that we have, and we put all of our outdoor furniture in that screen, and so that it wouldn't get blown around. Closed all of our shutters, and then going through the house here, our house is about 3 feet above sea level. The floor here. So we picked up some things off of the floor thinking that it would flood. Now, a year or two ago, we had a tropical storm that went up past us, sort of the same path that Ian was supposed to take, about Saturday and Sunday, before it made the turn east. And when we had this storm a couple of years ago, it was reported to be a 3-foot storm surge, and it caused our lowest level here, not Tony Schiavone's wife, but our lowest level to flood. And we had about 6 to 8 inches of water in it. And of course, that's a pain in the ass. That room was initially a garage, and someone at some point closed it in. And so we ended up having to have about half of the drywall replaced in that room. And that floor, it was a concrete floor, is a concrete floor, but it had carpet, so we had to get rid of that carpet. And so big pain in the ass, but we were prepared, and we had the furniture that we have down there, we have it lifted up. We got things off the floor that could be destroyed by water. So basically all we had down there that was, some wood and from the furniture, and that's about it. And then through the house here, because they were predicting a 5 to 10 foot storm surge, which would have probably almost filled up our lower level. We got things up off of the ground, put them on the tables, things like electronics, because, we were expecting there to be water in the house. Mm-hmm. But good for us that it went east, bad for the people that are, down south. So we watched it from my mom's, and we saw that it started to turn. And while we were thankful, we were just heartbroken at what all of those people down there are going through. One of the places that it hit hard was Sanibel Island, which we go down there, once or twice a year to vacation. We have some friends who have a timeshare there. I think Jarrett also has one in the same place called Casa Ebel. Mm-hmm. And our friend, when we were up in Mount Airy, she called us and said that they had some neighbors that decided to stay who were in their 70s.
Oh, okay.
And that the water was almost over their cars, or was over their cars, and these people were stranded. And if you look, at any of the videos, you'll see that there's a lot of stuff that's going on in Sanibel. Like the causeway was destroyed, and the HOA there told my friend that it would probably be 2 years before they're able to get back down there.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, seeing that on the news and having people here talk about it, it's a crazy thing. Like, a lot of what my coworkers were talking about were like the alligators that were swimming around. And have you seen the one on the news where they have footage of alligators just, I guess they were in some sort of containment thing and escaped or something and started swimming around?
No, I saw a picture.
Uh-huh.
I saw a picture, but so I mean, there very well could be alligators in the ocean. It doesn't happen often. I've seen it once since I've been here,
Mhm.
but the storm, hit here on the Gulf Coast, but then it moved up through Orlando, and so it just made, a lot of water. And so my son and his dad's wife went, and they stayed in Orlando, and Orlando and parts of it ended up flooding. And so if you think about in the middle of the state, there's a lot of ponds and lakes, and if those overflow and there's alligators in them, then they could very well swim anywhere they wanted,
Yeah, that's crazy though. That's
right?
that is so crazy to even think about it. So, oof.
It ends a whole nother problem. I mean, it makes a whole nother problem, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's I don't know. It's so weird. I mean, it's Florida. You guys have alligators there. It's it's just so scary too. You yeah, that's very scary.
I mean, you hear a couple times a year of an alligator getting a pet or an elderly person.
Right.
Exactly. I mean, that stuff. It's crazy. It's crazy that it happens, but it does happen. Jana started watching like one of the rescue videos, and it was a Coast Guard helicopter that was looking for people, and they landed on what was a tennis court.
Okay.
And it didn't even look like a tennis court because it was covered in mud.
Yeah.
And then they were, I guess, looking for survivors. And then I saw this morning that they said that, some more people have found that had passed. Crazy, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, here we are days, and you look, and I mean, that place is just, it's flattened. I mean, it's really crazy that the devastation that these storms cause.
Yeah, that's true. It's I don't know. I mean,
and I get people not wanting to leave, but man, come on, you've got to.
Yeah, absolutely. You just can't fight with Mother Nature in that regard. It's scary every time a hurricane happens over there. There's always that, like, oh my God, how bad is it going to be? Over the years you've had devastating hurricanes and lots of property damage and lives lost, and it seems like I don't know, it seems more like happening every year or every other year now. I don't know. maybe it's just it's just I freaking hate I hate it. I really hate it. It's just so scary, and you never know what's gonna happen with those things. If it's and you're always wondering. I couldn't imagine living there or just living um that situation. It's oof.
Well, and so just to throw a little insurance knowledge out at you. Um, for flood insurance, the maximum that the Fed will cover is 250,000. So we could not build our house back for 250,000 if it flooded.
Right. That's crazy.
Right. So we would be able to get 250 back, but then we'd have to get another mortgage to build back what we have. And I mean that in itself is crazy.
Yeah, you would, man. Are you guys paying high premiums for flood
Oh yeah.
insurance?
Yeah, we pay about 4,000 a year
Fuck.
for only 250,000 in coverage, but our
God
mortgage requires it.
Jeez. Man, that's
And then plus we have more we are sort of in a unique spot. We are probably 200 feet from the ocean and maybe 150 from the bay. So we are pretty close to each of those.
oh, that's crazy. Wow. That must scare you every time this time of year comes around.
Yeah, it only when you see that something's happening. I mean, we have the months where the hurricane months. I think it's June to November through November, and after that, it's you really don't think about it, but you it is in your mind whenever there's a storm and you are very vigilant. Um, you know, you are very vigilant when you see that a tropical storm has been named and watch out for it.
Yeah. Ugh. Well, yeah, let's not talk about that anymore. It gets kind of crazy, but
well, our thoughts and our prayers, and we're thinking about those people who are affected, and if you see one of the places that you can donate and help out, then please do. You hear that there's a person that is got something set up on Pine Island who is I wish I could remember her name, but she's really trying to take care of the people who stayed. And a lot of people, Jan and I were talking about this, that when these disasters happen, we're able to get in the car and go and drive, and we have a place that we can go and stay. My son and his dad, they stayed in a hotel for 4 days, but there's people who can't afford that. Right. And they don't have a choice but either to ride it out, or they just have no other place where they can afford to go. And so if you see some charities that are for real and you feel like supporting them, then please help those people out. I know that there's always some scammers, but you can always donate to the Red Cross and help out that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, every little bit helps, and I hope everyone will be okay from this. I mean, it'll take time to rebuild everything, and that was damaged or destroyed, and yeah, just yeah, it's what can I say,
Yeah. So let's see, how's work going? Work going good?
Work's going good. I supervised last night. My boss took the night off. So I was just doing nothing. I was just supervising. And lately, the industry I'm in has been taking a hit on the stock market. So a lot of people are kind of dreading possible, recession, I guess, or fearing for their job security. and especially since I work in technology, so that's usually the first to start laying off people and everything. So that's on their mind. I'm trying not to think about that. I don't think it's gonna happen. It's um I'm I'm kind of I'm very optimistic about things coming back in terms of like microchip production and things of that nature. Things are trying to get back to normal. We still have that global chip crisis shortage that we're trying to fill. Trying to do our best to fill that up again. And
Do you want to
well,
say the company you work for?
no,
Okay.
well, I don't know. Should I?
I don't think it matters, but I did see that they have some new technology. I saw it on the news. Am I right?
Yeah. So I work for a company called Nvidia, which a lot of people that play computer games or something know that company really well, and they are graphics, chip company or graphics processing company, but they've expanded to a lot of other things like AI, car navigation systems, um, all this other things, crypto mining, data centers, which is our one of our big what's it called things that we're doing. So yeah, there's certain things I can't talk about like certain things coming down the line because they haven't been announced yet, but there's gonna be like some good new things coming out as usual. Every year there's like a conference that we have called G-Tech that we have like every September or something like that, and that just passed. So they were talking about new things. You could look it up online, but we're very optimistic about those things. It's just that we don't the way that the world works, we can't always predict the positive outcome with everything, and if new problems arise, then we'll deal with it. But yeah, it's just I see it as we take it one day at a time, try to stay optimistic, try to stay busy, and just keep moving forward. So that's what we've been doing.
I'm trying to find the article that I saw or
Okay.
heard, and
What
it
did you
may,
hear though? What specific thing? Because there's a lot of things that were
it
announced.
it may have been 3D or it may have been VR related.
Okay, so oh man, I primarily work in the beginning stages of new product. So a lot of the stuff I work with are like not really prototypes, but they're microchips or processors that will not be released for another year or so.
Mm-hmm.
And those applications vary between whatever those chips are going for. Like right now, there's a new chipset that's coming out this month that is another high-end graphics processor, and I've been working on that thing for the past or since the beginning of the year. So I'm like, wow, it finally came out. But like, yeah, I can't. There's so many things that they've announced. Yeah, there's like VR stuff, a lot of AI things, a lot of other things regarding I don't know if you saw or know. There's this video of a rendering of a ramen shop, and it's completely done with computers, and it looks so realistic. I'll have to link you the video later on, but it looks it's like these graphics renderings are so realistic that you can't really tell between what's real and what's fake.
Oh yeah, I'm
This
looking at it right now.
the smoke, the steam, those textures with like cloth that's blowing in the wind, they've come so far with this technology that it's amazing.
You know, the only
And-
thing in this video that looks fake is,
Uh-huh.
and I'm only watching like a loop, 5-second clip,
Mhm.
is there's a large wooden paddle on the right hand side.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing that looks fake. But like the stainless steel, everything in there, I mean, looks so realistic.
Yeah, and
Oh,
you
that's
know,
that's on YouTube.
yeah. There's
Yeah, I see it right here. Yeah.
videos, yeah. So we're very excited about those things, and with also with more work in like databases and data centers and supercomputers and whatnot. So but that's what I do. That's my work in terms of in terms of what I do. Actually, it's just doing data bug and all that stuff. Not data bug, debugging and data collections or microchips processors. But that's boring. So it's like techie stuff. It's like a
Yeah, but this is a group full of a bunch of nerds, so they're probably eating that up, probably cranking them off there.
Oh yeah, Jaworski-ing.
Oh man.
No, have you eaten anything cool lately?
Speaking of cranking off and Jaworski, let's see. I have been eating pretty healthy for a while here, and my up at my mom's, I this is kind of funny. My mom had made this dish she calls grape salad,
okay,
which is red grapes and not cottage cheese, not sour cream.
Ricotta?
No. What's the cream cheese? Cream cheese.
Cream cheese, okay.
Cream cheese. And my mom calls it grape salad. And but it's covered in like brown sugar.
Ooh, interesting.
And so I called it a dessert, and my mom said, no, it's a salad. And Jana was like, no, it's got a pound of sugar on it. That is not a salad. So that was pretty good. But I did stress eat about 3/4 of that pan of the grape salad. And it was absolutely delicious. And while we're up in Mount Airy, we always get Snappy Lunch, which has just recently been. I'm sorry, Snappy Lunch. I meant Speedy Chef. We also get Snappy Lunch, but we also get Speedy Chef. Speedy Chef is not far from my mom's house, and it is the home of the Chef Burger. And I get the Chef Burger, which is a larger burger with lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, no onions, but it's a large. So I would probably say it might be 1/4 pound. It is not like a half-pound burger. It is a little thin, but it's the larger round one. And I get a hot dog and French fries, and that's what I've eaten for years and years and years. Chef Burger, French fries, and a hot dog, and it's absolutely delicious. And Speedy Chef just recently sold from one restaurateur to another, and so I'm glad that the guy who sold it finally gets to retire. I went to school with his son. Who I think is some type of medical professional out in Nashville these days. And then we also ate Snappy Lunch, which was mentioned on the Andy Griffith Show, and it is on Main Street, and we've been going there for years as well. I get the biscuits and gravy with a side of tenderloin, which is pork tenderloin. Have you ever had pork tenderloin?
Well, is it the one that gets pounded and breaded and deep fried and it's hella huge, or what? I mean, I've had pork tenderloin before.
That's what we would do. That's what we would call the pork chop. But the tenderloin is pounded and then not breaded and just cooked like in a frying pan. So you'll have the big flat brown areas on it. And I remember, my grandma would do the same thing. Pound it and then. If there's a joke there, I'll leave it. and she'd have it sitting. So when we go to my grandma's house, like Thanksgiving or before Christmas, she would have this tenderloin that had been sitting out since breakfast. So I always get it. It reminds me of my grandma. And that's my meal. And if I don't eat all the tenderloin right away, I just save it and snack on it throughout the day.
Oh, nice. Oh, what was that? You okay?
Yeah, that was a flashlight.
Oh, okay. Dang. Is that a mag light? Sounded clever.
No, it's one that we left out for we were anticipating being out of power, but by the time we got back, I think we didn't lose power at all with the hurricane. I think we just lost internet for like a day.
Okay, yeah. And that sea grape plant or tree fell over, right?
Yes,
the only
yeah.
casualty?
Yeah, it was it's I think technically a plant, but it grows thick like a tree. And we got it out and then moved it to the front, and then we started calling people to see who would come and pick it up. And finally, this guy said, "Hey, I'll be there tomorrow," and he didn't come. And so my wife called this lady. The name of their business is Junk Chicks. Ooh. And I said they missed an opportunity there. They should have named it Junk in the Trunk Chicks. And so she said she would charge us $50 if we helped her load it, $200 if she had to load it by herself. And we said, well, we'll go with the 50. So me, Jana, and my son, it took us about probably 30, 45 minutes to load this lady's trailer down with it, and we were happy to get it out of the yard, because who knows how long it would have sat there killing the grass.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So back to you. Have you eaten anything cool lately?
Let's see. Cool lately. No, I've been actually just not really eating. I haven't been out to eat in a while. I've been saving my money. I've been trying to fix up my car. I just had standard like pizza. If I went to go out and eat pizza, burritos, the last thing that I got like in terms of anything cool was that burger from Way Back Burger that I posted on the Facebook group, the Oktoberfest burger with quote unquote Cajun tater tots. But other than that, no, I haven't really been eating. I've been eating like at home. So I had some home cooking. My mom's cooking, my dad's cooking. The hot dog here and there. Whatever else I can cook, instant ramen. I haven't really been spending my money going out to eat. Just saving money to like fix my car, or not. Well, it works mechanically, just aesthetically fixing it up, and hopefully saving enough money to paint it. It has a lot of sun damage, a lot of oxidation, so just trying to get that squared away. Trying to look for a good, reputable, but not overly expensive body shop to paint it. So yeah, that's what I've been doing lately, just working and buying car parts here and there and slowly installing it.
Before we wrap up here, since you mentioned the working on the cars, I'll tell you my experience recently. So my son has a 2009 Ford Escape.
Yeah.
And we've had to do a few things to it, and his headlights were all foggy looking, right? And he had a problem where the battery went out. It's a hybrid. So we had to put a hybrid battery on it. And somehow, when it went from one place to another, it ended up with a broken headlight. So I said, we'll buy you new headlight assemblies. And we did. And they came in. I try and teach my son, hey, let's work on things, because it's cheaper to fix it yourself, and it's also good skills to know how to fix shit when it breaks. So he and I started to take this thing apart and got a few bolts out, and it still would not come out. And I saw where the bolt was, and I was thinking maybe I could get it out without having to take off like the bumper. And he also had a bully bar installed on the front.
Ooh, okay.
And so that would have to come off. And so I sort of got pissed off, and I took a Sawzall and I started sawing these headlight assemblies out of the car. And then I realized that no matter how much I sawed it out, that it would not solve the problem, that I would still have to take the bumper off to put these new headlight assemblies in.
Wow.
So I called up this shop that we've used before, and it's the guy's name's Brian, and I think it's called Sunrise Auto Restoration here in. And I called him up and said, "Hey, could you do this for me?" And he said, "Sure, bring it in." So we took it in, picked it up the next day. It cost me $125, but it was a lot better than me taking a Sawzall and sawing the heck out of that.
Right? Oh my gosh, that would have been that would have been probably caused more damage and most likely.
100%. Yeah. But it was pretty funny, and I owned up to it and said, yeah, I just got pissed off, and I was a little frustrated, and he said, yeah, it's a pain in the ass. We had to take the bully bar off and then take the bumper off and then put everything back on. And I said, all right.
Don't you hate when cars are engineered to be that way? I mean, it's like you have to get to this, you have to go through this and that. It's like, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
That's why I like older cars. Everything was just, its own thing. You just worked on it. But nowadays, newer cars, modern cars are everything's so integrated with each other. Like, geez, I have to take off this and this just to get to that? That's bull. That's bullshit.
Yeah. I remember the last time I changed out the headlight assemblies on my mom's, her car's a 2000, and it was easy peasy.
Right.
Not a problem. Popped it out, popped it in. Never in a million years would I have thought that you'd have to take off bumper.
Yeah. That's so crazy. Yeah, I know. My car, it's just like 4 screws, 4 bolts, and then pops out. And then like, okay, well,
never
had to.
One of the lessons I wanted to teach my son was that you got to have the right tools, and that's the right tool for changing out a car part is not a Sawzall.
No, the right tool is calling that mechanic from the body shop that worked on your Mustang, the quarter panel of your Mustang back in the day.
Man, you've got a great memory, man.
Oh, I just remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the right tool for the job. Calling a professional.
All right, well, we're gonna call that the go home, and thank you all for joining in once again. Please come back next week. I've got a couple of people that are on the list to come on the show who are new, who have never been on, and if you too would like to be on a future episode of Broken Kayfabe, then please just hit Ariel or I up, and we would love to get you on.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, everyone, take care. Thank you for listening.